remember she told her mother we were just going for a walk. The next thing we saw stopped us both in our tracks, and we saw barefooted prints in the mud. Okay, a lot of these people these days have seen a footprint in the mud, but this was different. In the first place, this is 1962, long before cable TV and the internet. Even long before stories come out about Bigfoot. We had life. We had life, look, and Reader's Digest to read, and only 3 TV channels. I looked it up later in life. The first Bigfoot story in Reader's Digest was in 1969, and the first Abominable Snowman story was in 1976, and he was all white. We were back in good old 1962. What do we know? The tracks were pristine, and any current day researcher would have given his eye teeth to have happened upon this set of prints. I'm talking about a set of prints that went from behind the last house at the dead end up and around a little rise across in front of the gate where we were. We had gone about 10 feet back from the gate, continuing across the cornfield and then up a rise over the hill toward the woods and creek. Being young then, I can say that we were about the length of 3 school buses. That would be about 150 feet of footprints. I bent down to look at one closely, and it was 1.5 inches deep in the mud. It was much bigger than my dad's foot, and the length between prints was something like 5 or 6 feet. What in the world? I was thinking. Danielle was getting so excited, she said, "Let's follow them." I thought, "Take your little self on up there, not me." I said, "No." She said, "Well, I'm going to go follow them." And I have to stop the story right here because I have something very important to tell you. This was in 1962, so the poor old beast is probably dead by now, and I think he was old at the time in 1962. The location really doesn't matter. No point in going looking for him. So I'm going to tell you where this happened. Sometime in 2015, I looked up an old insurance map of the city I lived in back then in 1962. The map circled every 2 miles from the state capitol to show the distance out from the Capitol building. Now get this. The area where we saw the footprints, the area where trash cans were raided, the area where the old fisherman saw something in his boat was 4 miles from the state capitol building of Nashville, Tennessee.